Right, here we go. So, let me introduce myself. For those that don't know me, I'm Johnny from Benzine's Detailing, and I'm going to do my first ever video, which is quite scary. I've never done the online videos sort of thing, but we've got an opportunity coming up in the next couple of weeks where we can show some pretty cool stuff, and I thought what better way to start than do something pretty big. I've always wanted to do some informative videos, just sort of do-it-yourself sort of stuff for the customers at home, but so I thought, we'll do something quite large for the first one, which is sort of always what I do. I start right to the top. I do throw myself in the deep end and go right out of my comfort zone, which I'm in now. This is the first time I've ever done this or considered doing this. So yeah, we're going to do some smaller ones going forward, but for this first one, it's going to be quite big. I'm just looking at my list here that's in front of me, so I can give you some idea of what we're going to do on this one. So the purpose of this video will be, we've got the Hot Rod Show coming up on the weekend of the, I think it's the 25th and 26th of November. We've got 3 cars to do for that show, and we also have some visitors from the east, from Motorex, and a well-known hot rod shop, hopefully stopping in the Thursday before, the Thursday before the show. But we want to show basically, or I want to show basically the road to the hot rod show, or the road to Claremont, is what we'll probably end up calling this, is what's involved in maybe some of the preparation for cars for a show like this one. They're pretty 2 builds that are quite are very new, and they've taken I believe one is a 12-year build, and I think the other one's probably around the same, and then we've got another burnout car that has been around and been refreshed, and also that's probably another 5 or 6 year build that's coming back to life. So yeah, we'll probably stop along the way over the next 2 weeks and probably show small bits of what we're going to do with those cars, how we're going to finish them, and yeah, probably what's involved, and we'll try and go as in depth as we can into the lead up to the show as well. So what else have I got here? We just I guess this is Monday the 14th, so I should have already started. We should have started this morning. First car was due on the weekend just gone. Unfortunately, the customer has come down with COVID, so over yesterday, just to make some adjustments to which cars were coming in when, and the one that was supposed to come in, we're supposed to have another one come in today, which is on its way now. So the weekend was spent obviously cleaning the workshop. So first things first is make sure we can work in a nice clean environment. Walls are all clean, dusted, floors are all clean. As you can see, once I finish this, I'll turn around. We can have just a quick shot. You can see my car and my project in the background there. They'll have to leave soon, find a home for them, so we can put all these cars in so they can all leave from here on the Friday before the show and go straight to the show. So straight from, we do some work on them and then yeah, straight to the show. I want to try and keep these obviously short and sweet as much as I can, but like I said, this one I want it to be a decent sized video, but at the same time just still, you know, keep his guys interested and not drag on too long. So hopefully we can have a bit of fun. It's going to be pretty raw, being the first time. Not sure what to expect, not sure how I'm going to come across, but yeah, leave us some comments and that once you're done, you know, viewing it, and anything you want to see going forward. We'll see what we can do. I've got Nick from Torque and Power giving me a hand through the week, and hopefully Brendan Franklin from Because Race Car giving us a hand as well, because obviously it's not probably something I can do on my own. I need a bit of a hand, need a bit of a guide as well, but like I said, I'll throw myself in the deep end and we'll see how we go. So enjoy. It's Mike. This car is this Valiant is Mike Roycroft's car. He used to burn out this car back in, I think he told me 10 years ago was the last one he did at Summernats, and he broke something on it. So put it back in the shed, and ever since then he's been fighting to get it back on the road, you know. He hasn't really gone into too much detail with me in it. I know he's changed the blower, retrimmed the seats, and obviously it's a colour change from what it was. It was it's like a burgundy or sort of wine colour, something like that. And now it's obviously the straight black. So yeah.
So when a car like this comes in, what was his message to you? Like, what did he say? Because he's obviously debuting this car again.
Yeah, so a bit of a guess it's a re-debut, I suppose. Yeah, so it's showing the car again for probably the first time. It's funny, most customers don't give me any instructions anymore. They just say, you know, do what you need to do, you know. Because the car's painted, we already sort of know that we're going to come across some sanding marks or polish marks from the paint job, and you know, even though the cars can be finished off pretty well from the paint shop, you know, they sit out in the sun for a bit, the paint sinks back, and we're always going to expect some sort of, you know, flaws, whether it's minimal or a lot. So on this one here, it's sort of patchy, so some areas is worse than others, and some are actually fine. So you've got to alter sort of on the fly, you know, what you're doing. But in terms of instructions, Mike's instructions were like, look, it's not a show car, but you know, it's I spent 10 years, you know, getting it back to this sort of, you know, I just wanted to look really presentable and make sure we fix all those things that maybe are just sort of left over, you know. So, and that also includes obviously polishing all the aluminium, you know, the blower hat, all the aluminium stuff, the chrome, and just bringing stuff up, you know, that's maybe been sitting or oxidised. The wheels probably need to be going over again. So it's all, when it gets to these sort of cars, and that's why when sometimes I promote, it's always, you know, bespoke or tailor-made, because, you know, one area you might not need to touch, or you just need to go very, very small, and then others are going to need really more attention. So once you get it sort of, once we've wiped it down, so we can't wash the car because the car's not moving at the moment, still not finished. So once we've got it in here and sort of did a waterless sort of wash on it to see what we left over, we noticed obviously there was some overspray on the boot and the roof, so it was a bit gritty. And then we just go from there. We just look at sort of, you know, each section at a time, and we start off obviously less aggressive and just go forward from there.
So this car comes in, he gives you the brief. How long will you spend on this car, like from the moment it rolls in to the moment Mike can come and collect it?
Yeah, generally done enough now to know that 3 solid days is probably where we're at. As with the length of those days will vary, obviously, because once you start, because you've obviously got, especially leading up to the show, we've got cars back to back, so we've allowed so much time for them. So if I think I need more, then I'll just stay back a bit longer. Or knowing that the cars are going to be here for a couple of weeks, I can probably start the other ones and see how we go with them. If I can progress better on those, then we can jump back, back on this one if need be. But rule of thumb for something like this, sort of knowing what we're getting into, a solid 3 days is sometimes you think you'd probably come up to that 2.5 day mark. You think, we're going to get it done in probably a bit less. But then you just probably push the envelope a bit more, knowing that we could probably do that a bit better. And you can see probably there's a couple of tape marks and that where we go, I'll leave that and go around the car, and then we'll go back through it, because we can probably do a little bit more in those areas.
Yep.
So it's day 1 at the moment, and we've got 3 cars back to back, leading right up to the show. We're really pushing, obviously, the time frame for what I need to do. We've also got, if all goes well, we've got visitors from over east as well coming from Motorex. The cars that's going to come from Motorex is going to stop in here, and they're probably going to pull that out and inspect it here as well. So we've got a lot going on, and with some of the other cars, we've probably got some photography going on while we're at it as well. So there's a lot, not just on the detailing side of things for the show. There's all these other little small things, mini stories going on with the 3 cars, because even though this one's obviously been out before, it's a new build. The Charger's a new build, and the 55 Chev's a new build, and they're all 12-year, 10-year builds. So it's a pretty big deal for the customers and even for myself as well to be, doing the final, everything leads up, and we've got 3 of them, leading up to one point, which is here, which is pretty cool.
So that's the important thing to remember here, is that these are long-term builds, these cars, and they're debuting in essence, in real terms, even though some of the cars may have been out before. So these cars are debuting, and as you said, this is the final kick or the final presentation before they roll out.
That's
WA's leading show.
Correct, yeah. So, I mean, any other year you'd be happy to have 1 of them, but 3 of them, that's pretty cool. And none of them have officially been seen. One's been in here before, but it's only gone back home to work out all the niggles and stuff. So they haven't been seen by the public, at all. So to have all 3 roll out on the Friday, it's pretty good.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, so my name's Mike Roycroft. This is my 75 VJ Valiant Ranger sedan.
Tell us a little bit about the car itself and its history. Johnny's alluded to the history before, but tell us.
Yes, so I've had it since 2009, I think. Back then, it was just like a ordinary street car. I drove it around as like an apprentice. Had a 360 small block Chrysler in it. Pretty tough little setup. It was a metallic purple colour. Centerline auto drags, and I just drove around on the street as a young fella and just kind of thrashed it and abused it over the years, and went through plenty of engines, diffs, gearboxes, all kinds of things, and then slowly just upgraded the car over the years. In 2012, I blew the car up at Summernats, put a rod through the block with a blown combo that I had, just in burnouts. And then I thought, all right, I'm going to take a year and I'm going to build this car totally crazy and make it everything I want. And then here I am 10 years later, and it's almost there, I suppose.
So tell us about what has it been for you to be kind of debuting the second or third incarnation of the car at the Hot Rod Show?
Oh, I don't know if debuting is the word. It's not really a car that I'm debuting. It's just something that I've built myself my own way. But yeah, it's just 10 years of work and just the car evolving and me changing as a person. Originally, I started off wanting to build like a burnout car, I guess you'd call it, and then I kind of grew up and grew out of that, kind of changed a few things, and then yeah, I don't even really know what it is now, but yeah, I just had to finish it one way or another, so that's what it is.
But isn't that the whole beauty of, I guess, having the car for so long, that we see different incarnations of the car, and also it changes, I guess, with the times?
Yeah, exactly right. It's changed with the times and changed with me as well, growing up, I suppose, and I'm a little bit older and maybe slightly wiser than I was before. So that's why you can see it as it is now, yeah.
So tell us, why did you come to Johnny for?
Well, he detailed one of my cars for my old man about probably 2 years ago, prior to going into a Street Machine magazine feature, and yeah, his work speaks for himself. Yeah, it's amazing his work. He's a good guy. Yeah, not really much more to say other than that.
So looking forward to the show, obviously, Mike?
Oh yeah, hanging for it. We haven't had one for 2 years now, and that's primarily why I wanted to kind of not rush, but kind of push to get the car back together, because we haven't had a hot rod show in Perth for 2 years now, and there's really been no exciting events, so I thought, yeah, why not? It's my first kind of indoor static show as well, so not that it's a show car, I just wanted to, yeah, kind of take it there.
So plans for the future of the vehicle, you take it around doing a few shows?
Yeah, just an events car, I suppose, and that kind of alludes to the license plates there. There's no real point to the car, just kind of, in the end, it went from like wanting to do one thing, wanting to do another thing, and never really got anywhere doing any of that, and then so now it's just kind of, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, to be honest, just maybe a few shows here and there, and then yeah, maybe retire it back to a street car. Yeah.
Well, good luck with the show, Mike. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming on.
No worries.
Right now we're trying to get rid of the bit of road grime from the minimal bit of driving that Stewie's done so far, just to test drive and trying to iron out some bugs. So it's just got a bit of splatter, but the way everything's, obviously when you do cars like this, they're built with very tight clearances everywhere. So getting to the taking the wheels off is is a big task. So we're trying to do it obviously without doing that. So we're getting there. It's just going to be a bit innovative, I suppose, in the way we do things. So using this, we normally use this to get into windscreens, and we can't get into windscreens. We tuck it in. So it's giving me the length on the arm where I can't stick my arm in there. And yeah, I'm getting up there, getting it all off. It's not that dirty, it's just really, you can see it's a bit dusty, but that's it. But we've got to get every little nook and cranny that we can.
So talk us through today. The car's been up on the hoist, so you've done a full detail underneath.
Car's been up on the hoist all day. Good thing Stuart's been here helping out, which is good, because we noticed a bit of sink back in the cupboard here on the fuel tank. So we cut it all back, sanded it back, and repolished that. And then we polished wherever we can put the little buffer. We put the little buffer. Then we went to the smaller, so we went with the 3-inch. We did all the bigger ones, and then we got the 1-inch pad and did all the small areas. Obviously, before we did that, we just sorted out where you've got your grease and your, around your diff area, your uni joints, like a light degrease there. Then obviously try to get the dust out, all that sort of stuff too. And then obviously we did the polishing, and then once we did that, everything that we polished or that we've cleaned, we've also waxed. So the same as we do on the outside, whatever we polish, we wax. So waxed every nook and cranny, and then even to the point where we treated all the rubber seals, where the mounting rubbers for the body to chassis. Wherever there's rubber, we treated it. So whatever we can clean, we clean. Whatever we can polish, we polish. Over and over, polished all the exhaust. Obviously metal polished all the exhaust, all back through to the extractors. Gearbox has been polished. Wheels have been, front wheels obviously off, polished backs. We'll polish the fronts next week. Clean the tyres. Obviously we had Jordan here tonight. It was a good opportunity for him to be here while the car's on the hoist to do the undercarriage photographs. I was trying to be as efficient as we can while we got the hoist. So the hoist is, we don't want to go back forward. So we're going to try and, we're just finishing up now whatever we can do so we can put it on the ground and go from there.
I'm Stu Paris. This is my 55 Chev. I've been building it for the last 13 years. One of the good parts about it that I like is the fact that it stayed exactly the same way as the picture I first designed back when I first bought the car. A lot of guys change their minds as they're going along with the way they want the build to go. But this one here is pretty much exactly the same way I pictured it when I first bought the car.
So you've been building it for 13 years. Tell us a bit the build itself. So it looks like it's a cab-off chassis. So you've built the chassis or you've bought a chassis?
The chassis was imported from America. Complete Art Morrison replacement chassis for the Tri-5 Chevs. The suspension and everything all comes with it. Suspension, brakes, steering, all that sort of stuff comes with it. It's designed to be handle like a late model car. So it's not like driving a 7-year-old vehicle. It's like driving something pretty new.
Yeah. So power plant, tell us a bit about what's up front.
The power plant, we're telling everyone that it's actually a 348 cubic inch Chev small block. It's got the old school big block W cover, rocker covers on it. So the 348 and the 409 that came out in the early 60s Chevs only came out for 2 years. It is actually a 348 cubic inch engine, but it's an LS1 dressed up to look like an old school 60s engine.
That's awesome. So Johnny was saying before, the car itself is only, you've just finished it, it's only done a handful of kilometres coming down here. What was that like?
Actually quite surprising. I was expecting it to still, because the body shell itself is still obviously a 7-year-old vehicle, but it's nice and quiet. There wasn't too many rattles and bangs, not a lot of wind noise, which I was expecting to be a bit of wind noise and that sort of thing. With the car,
That's cool. So when you heard that the Hot Rod Show was coming back this year, did that hasten the build, or was the goal always to finish it by the end of 2022?
Yeah, it was. The goal was to actually finish it by my 50th birthday. But life events happen and things slow down. So I'm 51 now, so it's pretty close to, well, near enough to being ready by my 50th birthday.
Oh, cool. So tell us, you'll be debuting it at the show. What's that to finally get there, to get it there? What does that mean to you?
To be honest with you, I just want to get the show over and done with now. All the hype and build up for it getting there. Being the t-shirt car and the poster car and that sort of thing as well. Probably putting a little bit more pressure on myself, being spray painted by trade, and I know there's a lot of spray painters out there that have seen it in the build and are raring to have a look at it in the flesh. There's definitely going to be some news there.
Yeah. So tell us, you're a spray painter by trade. You own a spray shop as well. So you've come to Johnny?
No, I'm a teacher.
Okay.
I actually teach mechanics at TAFE. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're a spray painter?
Spray painter by trade originally.
So you've come to Johnny. Johnny, why? Any reason why you've come to Johnny?
Probably because he's the best in town.
Yeah.
Johnny's got a really good reputation with a lot of the high-end build guys. He's well known Australia-wide. He does a good job. He's got a teacher to detail.
Yep.
It was really a no-brainer to come to Johnny for the final going over.
Oh, cool. All right, Steve, we wish you well. All the best for the show, and thanks for coming on.
Cheers for that.
No worries at all.
Except for Johnny bouncing the car up and down.
Okay, so it's Monday the 20th of November. That gives us, evening, Monday the 20th, we've got another 3 full days, some long nights ahead of us. Kim's Charger finally came in over the weekend. Obviously he had COVID, so we couldn't get, he was actually the first one that was supposed to come in, but he's ended up being the last one to come in. So today I spent most of the time on his car today, just trying to get around where we're at. We've had it here before, so I sort of knew what I was expecting, and it's pretty much exactly what I was expecting. So hopefully we can get most of that polishing done on that car tomorrow, and then we're probably just going to jump back onto the 55 and hopefully get the polishing done on that car too. And then we'll start all the sort of final stuff, probably like polishing like the blower and maybe the engine bay on the Valiant as well tomorrow. So the polishing obviously is the big jobs and the harder jobs, and then from there we just pick out all the smaller stuff and chip away at it and all the way up until probably late Thursday night, and obviously we'll probably still go and be finalising stuff when we're at the show on Friday. So all 3 cars obviously in today, but now just got to get them done. Shall we go?
How you doing? My name's Kim Castro, and this is my 1973 VJ E48 Super Blue Charger.
Kim, tell us a bit about this car, because you have a great social media following. You update, you have a great social media presence. So you've told the story of the car through social media. But for those that haven't watched social media, tell us a bit about this particular vehicle.
So this car I've owned twice. It was the first car I bought out of TAFE in 1984. First job, went looking for a six-pack, and two came up. One was in Northern, one was in Kalgoorlie. Kalgoorlie was too far for a 19-year-old to travel, back in the day. Northern was a bit closer, so I called the guy up and said, look, I'll come around next weekend. And he was the original owner and had purchased it in 74. It sat in the yard for quite a while, apparently. And so I had the car from 84 to 89, sold it, and then had a phone call from a guy that had purchased it in 2003. He was just chasing around previous owners, looking for some detail and history, and called every Bel Castro in the book, basically, until he got me. And we had a chat on the phone for quite a while, and I said, it pretty well sounds like it hasn't changed much since I sold it in 89. I said to him at the time, I'd like to have a look at it at some point, because I hadn't seen it since 89. And we hadn't made any arrangements to catch up, but then in 2006 I actually saw the car parked outside a Chrysler car show, and I'm hovering around it, and some guys come up and said, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I used to own this car. And I said, are you the owner? And he goes, no, he said, he's inside, come back in and I'll introduce you. So we had a chat and exchanged details again, because I'd lost his number, he'd lost mine, whatever. And didn't really hear from him again until 2013. I got a tap on the shoulder, coincidentally, at another Chrysler show. And he said, I'm thinking of selling the car. Would you be interested in buying it? And I sort of ummed and ahed a bit, and I said, look, I'm not overly interested. I already have another Valiant. I don't know if I need to, but I'd love to have a look at it and then go from there. So a month later, I owned the car again for the second time, so yeah.
So tell us, the restoration period, fairly well documented again on social media.
Yeah.
But talk us through that resto, and since the time you owned it, how much were you able to put back into the car from back in the 80s?
So as I purchased in 2013, the restoration didn't really start till 2015. By that point, we'd sort of collected some new old stock stuff. It was mainly just little bits and pieces. It wasn't like the car was in need of body panels or anything. The car was pretty clean. And because the process took so long, it sort of allowed me to actually make a whole lot of contacts pretty well Australia-wide for all the little things that were hard to get, couldn't find, you're never going to get that. Phone call, email, whatever. And pretty much everything we needed materialised. Obviously at a cost, no one was giving anything away, but and I think probably because of that presence and showing stuff on social media, people could see what was going into the car. So nobody had any issues letting go of parts, because a lot of guys tend to hoard their new old stock bits for a rainy day. But everyone, after some persistence, they all said, yep, no worries, no worries. So yeah.
Do you think social media gets you a buy-in to the car? Like it creates its own following? Like I don't know much about Valiants, but I followed you on Facebook, and I followed the build as well, and I found myself gravitating, wanting to see this car. It's completed. This is the first time I've seen it in the flesh, to be honest. So do you find that a lot of people have jumped on board the story as well?
Apparently so. I didn't realise, because essentially it's not like I've set up a build page as such. It's just my own personal page, and just whoever's basically on my friends list gets to see it. Outside of that, I haven't shared a lot of photos and stuff on the typical Valiant owners sort of build pages. But yeah, there's been a lot of interest, and I've actually had a lot of people contact me and say, "Car's looking really good. You must be happy." And so it has built momentum. Yeah.
But it's a quintessential story. Young guy at TAFE, just finished high school, obviously. First car.
Yeah.
And you relinquish it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then you buy it back after so many years. Do you find that, because there's not many of those? There are a few, but not. It is.
No, and basically everyone that's heard that story has gone, "Oh wow, I wish I was able to get my first car back." So you're right. It does have some buy-in for people, because there's an emotional attachment, even though it might not be another person's car. They're reliving their history and going, "Wow, I wish I actually was that guy that managed to get my car back."
Yeah. Talk us through then. So after the restoration, you come to see Johnny. You're debuting this car at the Hot Rod Show.
Pretty much, yeah. It's been registered since the end of February. Used sparingly. I've done about 120 Ks over the last 6 months. Obviously through winter, didn't do much. It's not been to any other shows at all. It's basically just been from home, a 20K loop around home, and I've taken it out once a month pretty much. And as I said, I've been sparingly with the photos on social media outside of my own page, so not a lot of people have seen it outside of the circle, so to speak. Yeah.
Tell us why Johnny? Why you got Johnny to finish
well, essentially, my relationship with Johnny probably started maybe 2015, I think, probably around there. And he detailed my Valiant station wagon. 2017, I purchased another Valiant, a VJ sedan, just to get me through the frustration of waiting for this one to be finishing. And Johnny's detailed that, and Johnny's also detailed my dailies, and it's just works phenomenal.
Good luck with the car. It's absolutely magnificent. I love it. Johnny and I like looking at it, like to compare it with Falcons of the same era.
Yeah.
And I must be honest with you, there's a lot that Valiant were arguably maybe ahead of the time in some aspects from Ford or Holden. It's a magnificent car. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing it at the show.
Thank you. It's a credit to everyone who was involved in the build. I just basically paid the bills. I didn't really do any work on it myself. Yeah.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks for that. Johnny. It's the final day. Cars are ready to leave. Tell us how you feel right now.
Oh, a little bit tired, yeah, but a bit anxious as well for the boys and that. So, but at the same time, a bit excited as well, you know. So even though they're not my cars, it's still an exciting feeling having three and a bit now cars go to the show. So
tell us a little bit about the hot rod as well. That came through.
Yeah. So the 34 came in yesterday. Came in and out yesterday. Probably a little bit more work was required from my point of view than expected, but no, it was no big deal. So it's pretty cool to actually do some of the final touches on that car. You know what I mean? I was only in Motorex earlier this year, and yeah, I walked around that car at least 20 times, just looking at all the different things on it. It's a really high-end build, and to have the opportunity to fix some stuff on there just from the travels and to do the final waxing on that was it was pretty cool. Yeah.
It's quite a great accolade, isn't it? So tell us a little bit about that. The guys, you met them at Motorex.
Yeah, so obviously through Chris and that, when I've been over with helping Chris with X-Boss and Greg and that, you sort of bump shoulders with these guys all the time, you know, and they're just normal guys, they're just like us, you know what I mean, very down to earth. And yeah, every year you go, you know, obviously I go back every year, so you speak to them, you talk to them, and only earlier this year, you know, I was just looking at a chassis, a real detailed chassis from the Deluxe Rod Shop, which is Steve Aldrich and his business, and he just bumped me and he goes, oh, you know, we're going to be coming over, and you know, and at that stage I didn't even know about the Hot Rod Show, so it was pretty, you know, I heard from him first. He goes, we're going to, you know, hopefully do Adelaide, and then we're coming over to see you. So yeah, so it's pretty cool, you know. It's pretty good.
You said before that even though these cars aren't yours, there is a great sense of pride because you've taken them from 90% ready for a show to that full 100%.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of work that goes in the cars to get that extra 10%.
Yeah. See, I think I'm just, when you look at the scheme of the builds, I think I'm only like 1%, if that, you know what I mean? But, you know, Shuey was standing back looking at his car the other day, and he said, mate, he goes, you know, that made, you know, he said, great job or something on that. I said, mate, you did like most of the work, you know, and I said, I'm just the sprinkles and that. He goes, no, mate, he goes, that was, it's definitely made a massive difference, you know, what you did. So hearing those comments sort of, you know, it's pretty nice to hear that, you know, you're making a bit of an impact, you know, even if it's just the final details, it's still, you know, still quite an impact on the overall appearance of the car, especially for a show. So
yeah, because we saw a fair bit of correction, I guess you could say, go into Mike's car as well. Yeah. So yeah, I guess it's you've taken it from kind of a cool looking car to that next level. Yeah.
See, I think even when Mike came, I guess was it last week he came, and even he wasn't too. I think he was even a bit iffy, like the car was still dusty. We had done the correction, but until you start, and even myself, I always worry because I never see. I know what the outcome's always going to be, but I always doubt myself, like during the process. And it's not until you start doing all the other small bits that you think are not important that the actual starts all linking in, and the overall picture is just dramatically, you know, is better, you know. So I think when he came in the other day and he saw we've done all the trims, the chrome, the wheels, we took the wheels off and got all the surface roughs off this. All that makes a difference, you know, into overall viewing of the car, the blower, the polishing of all the aluminium in the engine bay. It all adds up, even though it's minuscule. But yeah, until they all come together at the end, you don't really see it, you know.
So talk us through the show itself. Like, you'll be there the full 3 days, I guess, even though it's a 2-day show.
Yeah.
How much work is involved for you at the show?
Oh, look, at the show, today's my last day. So the way I see it is that I'll help the guys set it all up, and then they're on their own, you know what I mean? I've set them up with some stuff as well, so they can, you know, maintain the cars for the weekend. But yeah, today would be the hardest because we'll obviously help the guys set up. You know, you've got stands involved, you've got, you know, mirrors and all that sort of stuff, and your final dusting and that. So it's probably small stuff, but it's a lot of small stuff now. So Steve wants to help with the stand as well at the show, and that's a pretty detailed stand. Like the stand is almost like another car for them. So probably give him a hand with that as well. But yeah, once I'm done today, I'll just be there for moral support over the weekend. For me, it's I guess it's a little bit of networking as well. Like, you know, you just you go to support the guys, see the unveils and that, and then it's just you know, just speak to the other guys in the industry while you're there, other guys that you've done cars for in the past. And yeah, just be there and enjoy the show. And I think it's going to be a good show as well. Like I think after 3 or so years not having one, it's going to be quite a good show. So it's always something. Outside's always a good show as well. So we'll take the car down probably both days and yeah, enjoy the show.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
You've done a magnificent job. You should be really proud. These cars are beautiful cars. And congratulations and good luck with the show.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, good luck to these boys, I think. Hopefully on Sunday they bring home a bit of silverware. It's not always about the awards, but it's always nice to put something towards the car, you know, at the end of all those years and all that hard work. Not for me, just for them, you know, just to see them succeed in just any aspect would be good. Yeah. So.
Thanks, Johnny.
No worries.
Thanks for that.
That engine bay doesn't look quite like it did when it came out in 1955. This is an absolutely gorgeous project. Again, it's been a lot of years in the building, a lot of to construe it. Mate, congratulations. The smile on your face there says the whole story. You're loving this car, I'm sure.
Absolutely. This has been a long time coming. 13 years in the build. We just like to finally have it done on the road.
We talk about old things.
show's come to an end now, so tell us how you're feeling right now.
Oh, me? Feeling still a bit tired, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think everything's caught up with us now, you know what I mean? Caught up in terms of time and stuff like that. So this week's been a bit tiring and hard to get back to it, but it was still a bit emotional for the guys as well, you know what I mean? To see their emotion on their faces on Sunday was pretty special, and yeah, I'm just happy for them. Really happy. I'm really happy with the show in general. It was pretty good, but really happy with the results for the customers, you know.
Yeah.
And even if they didn't, take home the award, the response to their cars has still been like huge as well. So it's not always about the awards. It's just about the impact and the results that they, the feedback they got too was pretty cool and special. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy, just in general. Yeah.
Yeah. So the feedback on the show itself was well attended. Quite a few people coming through. It's still our premiere car show?
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's hard. You know, what I mean, we've had 3 years off, so what do we compare it to? You know, in regards to you know, the show itself, I think, you know, it's probably there's probably more quality than quantity sort of thing. There was nothing repetitive. There was like 100 debuts in the show. So that was good. It was good to see that. It probably feels like it was like I guess it would have felt to spectators being you know, not well attended because, you know, it was maybe a bit more spread out, I suppose.
Yep.
Saturday was quiet. Sunday was definitely a lot more movement. But I mean, we still had really good cars outside as well both days, which was good. I think for what we've been through the last 3 years, I think it still should be a really good success, you know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Talk us through, so in terms of time and when we laid the video out, you felt that there was adequate time, and there was adequate time in the end, but
Yeah.
the cars took more prepping than what you
yeah, 100%. I mean, like you got, I've seen them before, so I knew it probably, other than the Mike's Valiant, I'd already had Kim's car in, I already visited Stewie at home, you know what I mean? I didn't know what the 34 was, you know, sort of, you know, what more I was going to do on that one. But so I you know, based on what I've done previously, you know, we allowed that. So we knew that we'd have to stretch, you know, those days out. But yeah, those days, I guess, turned into like, we're probably like one day actually turned into two. So we're probably doing 2 days work in one day, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
which was what we expected. So it was broad when I said, you know, maybe take 3 each, but we knew that those days were going to be long, but yeah, they probably actually were a bit even longer. So
Yeah.
in terms of, you know, which is something, you know, you learn everything, you know, you can only, you know, there's other things to do around the shop as well, like, you know, so we can't just sort of, you know, book based on thinking that it's going to be really big and then we're sitting around twiddling our thumbs. So I'd rather do it that way and sort of condense it instead of spreading it, maybe, you know, maybe in future, maybe certain ones we could probably spread a little bit more, but yeah, I still wouldn't have done it any other way. I like the way we did it. Yeah.
So in terms of elite shows, like we have that one, we also have Motivation as well, and an elite tent there. So the lead up to that, now you'd probably prepare a little bit longer, or like cars?
Well, it depends if we're getting the same sort of cars. Now, I mean, like if realistically, if we haven't spoken to anyone yet for Motivation, then the chances are we'll probably not be doing anything, you know. The cars that we've just done recently wouldn't need much, if any, you know, going forward, depending on what they do in the meantime. In saying that, there's some time allocated for them, but yeah, if I wouldn't be able to do those sort of details if you were a new customer or something now for Motivation. It's just there's definitely not enough time for that. We're in, you know, beginning of December, and that's sort of first week of February or something. So
correct,
and you've got holidays and all that sort of stuff too.
So tell us, how did Stuart go, and how did Mike go, and how did Kim go there?
Yeah, good. So I guess, you know, Kim got top Street Machine Authentic, which is, I guess, you know, which is the best you can get, you know, for that sort of car, you know, which is good, you know. You know,
it kind of is where that car is, isn't it?
Yeah. There's nothing else you can, you know, I mean, there's the bodywork and paint and all that sort of stuff, but that all went to, so if you're looking at Street Machine side, then that's where Stewie, you know, picked up on, I know he got, top Street Machine, I think it's like coupe, top Street Machine overall. I think he got interior, undercarriage, and he took out I think it's called the big top 10 or something, which is a pretty prestigious award, chosen by, it's Dexter's, I'm gonna get this wrong, probably Dexter's wife, I think. It's a pretty cool award. So can show that bit of that in the video too. So he was really chuffed with that because he knew him personally. So to see that, it was pretty cool. He was a bit emotional over that too, and his partner was they're very emotional when they got all those sort of accolades, because it's many years, and to see that some reward for their effort was great.
No, that's awesome. They done
Yeah.
well.
So and the 34, obviously we didn't do that. We didn't do a lot of that. Work goes to obviously Steve, Brian, and the Deluxe Rod Shop guys.
Yeah.
They didn't go to Motorex and win all these awards. They didn't go to Adelaide and win everything. So for no reason, that's like the top tier in Australia in regards to hot rods and in regards to display and probably Pelham paint as well. I mean, they didn't get top paint, but they got top bodywork. I think top engine, top undercarriage hot rod, interior, best displayed overall, top hot rod overall, top sedan overall. For them that was it was good to see that. Even though they've already been there and done that, it was good to see that coming over here. They were rewarded as well. Not going back empty-handed. So. Nice bunch of guys too, so it was good, well deserved.
So, from your own point of view, I know you like to travel as well. So, Motorex is definitely on the cards.
Look, I go to Motorex regardless. Whether I go help someone depends on who's going there. You know what I mean? So, I guess Stewie's got invited to go with the 55. So, but man, going to Motorex on your own is one thing. Going with a car is that's a massive task. It's a lot of money and a lot of effort, and you can't do it just with a couple of guys. You need a bit of a crew. So I'll put my hand up already. If he's going, then we'll be there and I'll be helping him. It's just I'm there anyway, so it's not it's a no-brainer for me. So
Sounds good.
Even Steve wants me to go to the Sydney Hot Rod Show as well. So. I've never done it because they're too close. They're very close together, but depending how we go, it would be nice to go to that show because it's very hot rod orientated as well. Now we're building the 34, so I'd like to go and see that show as well. For me, it's giving Steve and the Deluxe boys a hand as well, then that'd be great.
Good. Tell us, where can we find more information about benzene detailing?
Probably the Facebook and Instagram is probably the best place to start. The website is probably long overdue for an overhaul, so you can get a bit of an idea. But mainly, if you just scroll through our Instagram and Facebook pages, I'm pretty sure you get a good idea of what's getting done. And now we're going to be obviously we're going to launch this YouTube. We've always had YouTube, but I've got no videos on there, so we've only this is going to be obviously our first and probably the biggest, and I suppose for now the most in-depth one over 2 weeks. But we're going to try and back this up with just some small DIY ones, but more inclined on to the hot rod street machine side of things, and not just your general daily drivers. We'll probably we'll do this stuff first, and we'll do all that later. Because there's plenty of that stuff out on YouTube in the YouTube world. So, and wouldn't mind doing just some when we get some cool stuff in. Maybe we can do some car of the week sort of stuff. Like we've had this in, and it's pretty cool, and this is what we've done, and this is a bit about the car, and sort of just put that sort of stuff out there too. So so the YouTube channel will be, when you're seeing this, it'll be up and running, and hopefully there'll be a few videos to go see as well.
There's also some technical stuff about paint correction as well that you've talked about on Facebook, not so much with videos, but maybe elaborating on that sort of kind of thing as well.
Like as in to show people that as well? Yeah, I mean we can do that, I guess educating the customers always is always key, because then they know what they're obviously you're paying for, and maybe what goes into actually creating that finish in the end. So that's definitely something we can do.
No worries.
So
All right, Johnny. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
No worries. Well, thank you, Mick. Thanks
No
for
worries.
hanging out with us for the last couple of weeks.
It's been
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
Learned a lot. Made new friends as well.
Yeah, same. I've learnt a lot too.
That's good.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Johnny. Take care.